Feels like it's been a week or two since we did one of these, but we got some new X-Men casting rumors. I want to go over them, including one that I had forgotten about a while back because this rumor came out, I feel like, before the crop of X-Men rumors that we had talked about in previous videos about like the Cyclopses and Jeans and whatnot. And then we have another character that we have some conflicting reports about, and I'm going to talk about both. So let's start with the older rumor that I have forgotten about. So Hunter Schafer apparently is one of the actors in the running for Mystique. All right, so Hunter Schafer, first of all, from New Jersey. That's a great start. I am somewhat familiar with their work. I watched like a little bit of that Cuckoo movie. Obviously, they're in Kinds of Kindness, although not a ton. I have seen the Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, where she plays like the protagonist, who is the secret bad guy who will be like Donald Sutherland in the future, his sister or cousin or something. I don't know, she was fine in that. And most people would know her from Euphoria, where she has, it seems like it's a larger role. I've not watched Euphoria, but I'll say, in terms of like seeing the performances, I think Hunter Schafer seems like a fine choice for Mystique. I wish I could say I love this pick, but I do have one issue that I think makes Hunter Schafer wrong for this character, the way I imagine they will be played. And I'm only saying that because of the average age of X-Men that we've seen rumored or suggested, right? Like different X-Men are different ages. The Shadowcat, I believe, is like a high school age child. But then most of the X-Men that have been rumored are people in their late 20s or early 30s. Your Cyclopses, your Jeans, one of your Storms, not both of your Storms, your Rogue, which is very important here. But that seems to be the age that like the main class of X-Men will be. The same way that like in X-Men 97, Jubilee is younger compared to all the rest of them, who all seem to be in their 30s. I only don't love Hunter Schafer here because Hunter Schafer is, I just looked this up, let's make sure I get this right, because one time I messed this up and I got everybody's ages wrong. Hunter Schafer is 26. Interesting fun fact, born on December 31st. So that's a crappy birthday. Hunter Schafer is around the same age as Margaret Qualley. And that I find a little tough because for people that don't know too much about Mystique, I mean, I've obviously said like she's one of the Mystiques. We haven't really talked about her. Mystique is a very classic X-Men villain. A lot of people will recognize her from having a big presence in most of the animated material. She's big in X-Men Evolution, where she was sort of the, I want to say proto-Magneto, because Magneto was out there, but she led the Brotherhood of Mutants and also was the principal of the school, which was so fun. She was obviously a huge part of the movies. X-Men 1, 2, and 3, obviously played by Rebecca Romijn, and then the second generation, whatever we're calling that, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and some kid in a very weird scene, because of just like the weird, I don't know, that one image of like Mystique. It's like, I think Mystique would wear clothes, even if she was blue, she would put some on. Anyway, so Mystique traditionally, shapeshifter, like bad guy. I would say she skews more, like Magneto is a fanatic, whereas Mystique is a survivor. She's just out there, you know, she's seen the worst that humanity has done, the same way that Magneto has, but instead of becoming a leader for mutant kind, Mystique is more interested in like just staying alive, you know, protecting mutants when she can, but she's not trying to make the big statements that Magneto is trying to make. She's also very old. She's one of those characters that, like, I don't even think we know how old Mystique is, but because she has the ability to change her shape, she just doesn't age. And we, you know, kind of know what she looks like, because blue skin, that is like what Mystique usually looks like. But as far as her age is concerned, she looks the same and has looked the same since we met her. Now, to be fair, a lot of characters in comics work that way because of the stupid sliding scale of comics, but like Mystique's been around since the 1800s. She might be older than Wolverine. Famously, this is a character who has a relationship with a character named Destiny. Irene Adler, mutant who can see the future, has a big gold mask. They just got married in the comics. I think it was fine. I like the idea of them getting married. I think it's kind of crazy how many Avengers showed up at the wedding to be like, oh, this is great, even though like she tried to ruin so many of their lives. I'm with the Noel in that comic where Noel's just like, what is going on? Am I going crazy? Like, this is Mystique. Anyway, Mystique, personality-wise, very sassy, sees herself as an artist, sees herself as a performer, likes playing these roles, also likes messing with people, playing some mind games. She has two children. I mean, she might obviously might have a few other children, but those the main two are Rogue and Nightcrawler. Now, Rogue is adopted. Mystique raised Rogue, but obviously she didn't give birth to Rogue. But like Mystique and Irene are essentially both Rogue's mother. On the opposite side, you've got Nightcrawler. Mystique originally had a baby with Azazel, who is kind of a demon, and then it was Kurt, and she got rid of Kurt, so she is technically Kurt's mother, but did not raise Kurt. And then later it got retconned that while that's what it seemed like happened, what actually happened, and Professor X had like wiped everybody's mind or something to make it seem like this is what happened, is Mystique impregnated Irene using her shape-shifting abilities, and this was apparently what Chris Claremont wanted to do, or at least something Chris Claremont wanted to do back in the day, but like Marvel editorial wouldn't let him because they're cowards. So A, I like it on that sense. B, on the other hand, like it's just so many retcons, and I don't know. At a certain point, it's just like, I don't know, man, she can just be a bad mom, right? She doesn't have to have had her brain scrambled so that she has been a good mom all this time. Like that, I guess that's where this one doesn't fully work for me. And what I like about Mystique in this family dynamic is this difficult relationship she has with Nightcrawler and Rogue, where Rogue very much resents Mystique, and a lot of the time at least, although in recent comics this has changed, but like feels like she was used by Mystique because Mystique used her to, you know, fight the X-Men and Captain America and everything like that in her original appearance, and then became a good guy and reformed and, you know, resented the way she was raised. And on the other hand, you have Nightcrawler, who doesn't necessarily resent Mystique the same way, but he was raised as an orphan. He had a really weird, difficult life because obviously he looks like a demon, isn't able to change his shape. So he's like run out of town and had to join the circus and all that. And I like, and X-Men 97 did this very briefly, but like I think this scene was great. Had Rogue and Nightcrawler be like, we're brothers and sisters. Like we have a familial relationship that Mystique never really gave us and never wanted to exist. But like we've managed to create something between the two of us. Like we're these two lost souls who, you know, found a family together. Love that. And I like that Mystique can feel bad about that, right? And this is why the retcon just didn't work for me. Like I like that Mystique is like, I made a mistake then, I'm sorry about that now, Kurt, I want to, you know, be a better person stuff. What I don't love is the idea of like, oh, this is actually part of a plan, and, you know, it feels like we're retconning like the morality of characters. I always find kind of boring. Retconning circumstances, I think, is fine, but like retconning it so that this guy was actually good, boring to me. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, we have not had much casting information for Nightcrawler. I do think we'll get Nightcrawler in this movie, but we do have a potential Rogue, and that's Margaret Qualley. Now, the way I have always seen this portrayed, for me at least, Rogue is on the younger side of the adult X-Men. I would say she's maybe in her early 20s. Mystique, like we're saying, ageless, could technically be any age. I do think needs to feel older than Rogue. Like, I think the actor playing Mystique needs to be the age that you would expect Rogue's mother to be. So, like, at minimum, I think our Mystique should be in her late 30s, early 40s. And I'm not saying that because, like, I don't think it makes sense in the canon of, like, how these characters can exist. And like, I'm saying, oh, it's got to feel exactly like the comics. I guess it's just because the way that it feels like it works in the comics is Mystique is from an older class of mutants, and she kind of feels like it. I would find it weird if 26-year-old Hunter Schafer, and I just Googled it, 30-year-old Margaret Qualley are having a conversation where 26-year-old Hunter Schafer is Margaret Qualley's mom. And like, again, it's acting, you know, you can sell that kind of stuff, but I just think that relationship works better with an actor that is at least supposed to appear like older. And I think there's other X-Men, like other younger characters that Hunter could play. Like, I don't see a problem with Hunter Schafer, Jean Grey, you know, like Rachel Grey. I think you can maybe get away with Hunter Schafer, Emma Frost, although again, I think Emma Frost has to feel older because she is A, part of like a stupid ancient organization, but B, like also kind of a mother figure to a lot of these X-Men. Although, don't you want an Emma Frost that's the same age as Scott so we can have that romance? Maybe. So actually that could work. But yeah, I just think Hunter Schafer's a little young for Mystique. And this isn't to say I think Margaret Qualley is the only person that could play Rogue, but if they want a Rogue in her 30s, I think you need a Mystique in her 40s. And I also think, like, there are a lot of actors who can really ham up the Mystique role and, like, make it really fun. I'm not saying Hunter Schafer can't do that. I'm just saying, like, there's other actors that I think have, like, that in their repertoire. And I would like to see take that on. Like, I don't know, if she wasn't in the second generation of these, I think Rose Byrne could be a really fun Mystique. Honestly, now that I think about it, like, and maybe this is just because, you know, prisoner of the moment, but like Carrie Coon could be a kind of fun Mystique. Just watching her on White Lotus, I like her. I think she's a fun actor. And like, I think that would be interesting. And again, not because I think she like looks like Mystique or anything. And listen, like, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to use the word mother to describe people. However, I think Mystique needs to be that. You know, actually, now that I think about it, Sarah Paulson kind of be a fun Mystique. I don't know. I think Mystique, because of X-Men 1 being like the naked, like, I think, Mystique just wears clothes. She's not naked all the time. This is something that they did in the movies that I, a teenager who watched them at the time, think was a great choice. And, you know, I get it. But at the same time, like, she has dresses usually. I guess this is just to say, I don't think we need to hire like a supermodel or something like that. I think what we really need is someone who can roll her eyes at Professor Xavier and all of his nonsense. And I think there's a lot of actors that can do that. So in conclusion, I don't think Hunter Schafer's a bad choice outside of the fact that I think she's too young for her to work as Mystique. Next one. I know we spent a lot of time there. This one should be a little quicker. Jesse Plemons. Everybody knows Jesse Plemons because he's one of those guys that pops up in everything now. Killers of the Flower Moon. Also in Kinds of Kindness, which Hunter Schafer was in. Although Jesse Plemons was like, I would say, as close as you get to like the main character, that weird little vignette of movies. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. If you've never seen it, I don't even think it's a great time. Now that I'm thinking about it though, Emma Stone would be a super fun Mystique. And like, that would be cool. That would be super weird too. Emma Stone should be Mystique. That's my new choice. So Jesse Plemons, he was in Kinds of Kindness. And most people probably recognize him from that meme from Game Night where he says that can't be profitable for Frito-Lay. He was also in Breaking Bad. He was in Friday Night Lights. He was in that episode of Black Mirror where they do Star Trek. He's in Civil War. He's everywhere. He's one of those actors people love. And I also love. I think he always brings something interesting to these roles, even if they're, you know, like Civil War, I'd say a cameo, if you could call it that. And this isn't to say it's not important. That's to say, like, look at how much he brought to that one, you know, scene that he was in, how it became like the most memorable scene of the movie. Apparently, Jesse Plemons is up for the role of Beast. He is 36. I think that he would be a weird Beast. And this is saying I think he's a great actor. I think there's one thing about him that makes you maybe not love his Beast. And for people that don't know, Beast Hank McCoy, one of the founding members of the X-Men, character that has been in many of the movies, although not all of them, which was at first in X-Men 3, played by Kelsey Grammer, and then in all of the other live-action ones that have the X-Men in them, played by Nicholas Hoult. He is two things. A, he's a super genius. He's very nice and kind and like well-learned. This is something that was always conveyed very well in the animated series. And then the other side is mutant power. He's strong. He's very agile. He's able to like climb a wall with his feet and stuff. And then because of like some science he does to himself, because he's also kind of a mad scientist, turns himself blue, gets fur. My thing with Beast and Jesse Plemons, I don't think he can't do this role. I think the thing with the Jesse Plemons character, and this is true everything post Breaking Bad, so like Black Mirror, Game Night, Killers of the Flower Moon, Fargo, Kinds of Kindness for sure, is a Jesse Plemons character is supposed to feel kind of off. Even if, like in Killers of the Flower Moon, he's the lawman. In that case, because we're with Leo, because he's the protagonist, we're supposed to see him and go, this is something's going to change. And obviously, like Leonardo DiCaprio is doing bad things in that movie. But because of the way the movie is structured, his arrival is supposed to kind of set some things off their axis a little bit. And I think in like Game Night, right, he's somewhat unsettling. He's a little weird. And he's not a bad guy, but he's just strange. I think you can dial that up and down in Fargo. Much more relatable. But then as he starts getting more involved in all the Fargo stuff, and I like that season a lot, so I'm not going to fully spoil it, but like he gets a little bit more complicated and his life gets a little bit more complicated and he becomes what I would consider like an unsettling Jesse Plemons character. I think that's what's so great about him. And I don't think Beast is supposed to feel like that. I think if anything, Beast is supposed to feel like the opposite, right? You're supposed to see Beast, a big beast man, and go, that's a beast man. But then he's immediately supposed to feel warm and friendly and the opposite of that. He's supposed to feel nice. Like he is one of the most approachable X-Men. And this is not consistent overall time because recently he's become like bad guy, kind of. It's complicated. I don't love that run of X-Force, but usually Beast is a pretty dependable figure. A kid can come to him and say, like, I've got this problem, and they know, like, Beast is gonna listen because he's a lovable tough guy, classic archetype. And again, I don't think he'd be a terrible choice for that, but I don't think Jesse Plemons is like the perfect fit for that either. I don't know what X-Men I would like Jesse Plemons as. I mean, if anything, I'd like Jesse Plemons as an X-Men villain who's like strange. You know, Jesse Plemons, he'd be interesting. He'd have to be a take on like William Stryker, but like you could do that. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. He's got a very understated energy, which I think is kind of Beastish, but he just doesn't feel like Beast to me either. Now, this rumor also comes with another rumor that I like much less, that apparently Kelsey Grammer, who was Beast in X-Men 3, and then I guess X-Men Days of Future Past very briefly, and then again in the end of The Marvels, is just going to be the new Beast. So he is going to, in motion capture, play Beast again. I don't like this. I want a clean break. I know we're not going to get it, because I know we're going to get Wolverine back, because Hugh Jackman's can do it till he's 90. It really does feel like that. And I think that's fine, even though I think there's other actors that I think would be better Wolverines, potentially, or at least would be nice to give him a shot. The actor who played John Belushi in Saturday Night, Matt Wood, feel like he would be a great Wolverine. But whatever, we're keeping him. I also think if we're keeping him, keep Laura. Keep Daphne Keane, because she's the right age. She seems really into this character, and I do think putting Laura into a team of X-Men would be a cool way to just not do just Wolverine again. And I'd like to give her a chance to be Wolverine, like to get a Wolverine suit and just do that. Like, I think that would be cool. Have Wolverine 1, like Logan, be old man Wolverine who's like retired kind of and comes out for missions but does Wolverine stuff, and then have Laura be the Wolverine who hangs out at the X-Mansion and like does X-Men stuff. I think that'd be genius. And then obviously Deadpool's coming and stuff. I want to recast everybody else. I also think Kelsey Grammer, who I think is a very good Beast, is quite old. And he feels like he will be older than like pretty much everybody else on this cast. I doubt we get a Professor X over 60, especially if a lot of these mutants are 30. Partially just because I think they're going to want to have these actors around for a while. I feel like our Professor X will probably be in his late 40s, early 50s. And if that's the case, like Beast is going to be much older than that. Can that work? Sure. But I don't know, Beast is supposed to be one of the founding X-Men members. Like, he's supposed to be the same age as Scott and Jean. And a lot of this comes down to different X-Men are supposed to feel like different graduating classes. They don't necessarily all feel like they're the same age, but they feel like they came up together. And I have a hard time seeing someone played by, say, I don't know, Sadie Sink, feeling like they came up at the same time as someone played by Kelsey Grammer. Even if they, you know, pitch up his voice to make him sound a little younger and give him a different Beast design. I don't know. I just think Beast should be a new guy. In my video, I said Sam Richardson would be my ideal Beast, and I stand by that. I think he'd be a great Beast. I think he's got really good, like, charm. He's a big guy. He's kind of, you know, he's got a frame, but on the other side, he's very friendly, soft-spoken. You can see like the differences between a Sam Richardson character and a Jesse Plemons character. And I think that's the difference between like what I kind of expect from a Beast and, you know, maybe a strange casting choice there. So those are the only ones I've got now. Hunter Schafer could be a good Mystique. I think it's too young. Jesse Plemons, I really don't love for Beast, just because I don't think what I would say is a current Jesse Plemons character is supposed to feel like that. I think Beast is supposed to feel much warmer, much more immediately friendly, whereas Jesse Plemons is supposed to play characters that are complicated, that have some sort of like something, you know, something's maybe not quite right, and you're supposed to be a little more concerned about them. And I've talked about all these other X-Men casting. I'm going to talk about more as they happen. And if you want to watch those videos first, you got to check out Nebula. It is a subscription streaming service that I helped to create with a bunch of my other YouTube friends. People you definitely know if you like my channel, like Patrick Willems, Captain Midnight, Big Joel, H Bomber Guy, Princess Weeks, and a bunch of others. Go to the culture tab and just poke around. You will find someone you already love. And for my Nando V Movies and Nando Cut videos, the entire Nando cinematic universe, they all go up early on Nebula. The Nando V Movies videos are usually a week early. The Nando Cut videos are usually closer to a day or so. But when it comes to a movie review, that can mean the difference between me recommending you immediately see a movie like Deadpool and Wolverine, or me warning you that you immediately see a movie like Madam Web. Either way, see Madam Web. Madam Web's great. Also, if you've seen these ads in the past, you've definitely seen me talk about Abolish Everything, a new show that was coming to Nebula. Well, they recorded it, and it came to Nebula, and it's great. It is so funny. I had such a good time watching it. Check out the trailer online, and then definitely go watch an episode. I don't know if you guys are like me, but this is the kind of thing I could watch full seasons of. You can also download videos to the Nebula app and watch them wherever you want. And we're adding new creators every day. We have guest passes. It's really incredible. And speaking of incredible, Nebula is already a steal at $60 a year, $5 a month. But if you go to go.nebula.tv/thenandocut, you can get a year of Nebula for $36. That is $3 a month. It's an incredible deal. Again, go to go.nebula.tv/thenandocut. You're going to love it. That's all I got. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.